Hi, welcome back to another episode of Geekified. How you, Ryan?
I am superb, my dude. How are you guys?
Good, fantastic. Callum,
Not
how
too
you?
shabby at all, not too shabby.
Awesome. We've got an absolute shit ton of stuff to talk about today. And I am going to open up with more. It's actually nothing to do with you, because I know you haven't watched it. It's more of just a little bit of a rant. Asteroid City, what a fucking pile of piss. Don't watch it. Review over.
Why? Why? And what is it and why? Where's Anderson? But
you know what? I sat and watched it the other night. I got home, couldn't sleep. Work in hospitality, so my brain's buzzing. Thought, Wes Anderson, brilliant, love him, love his work. Watched it. Biggest pile of shit I've ever watched in my life.
Oh.
Fucking terrible. Absolutely terrible. Beautifully shot. Looks gorgeous. Actors are all, it's like Tom Hanks, Scarlett Johansson.
Bryan Cranston on it as well.
Bryan Cranston does a great part in it. A couple of, do you know what? Actually, he was the best thing in it.
right, okay.
And to say that he was the best thing in it, he literally narrates it.
Oh.
He comes on, narrates it, and he makes one of the funniest jokes in it. And it's like it's kind of off. I'm almost speaking like I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy Bryan Cranston.
As it's easy to do.
He does one wee scene where he kind of comes in. He was like, "Am I not supposed to be here?" And then they all look at him and go, "No, you're narrating." And he goes, "Okay," and leaves. And it's really fucking funny. And that's it. And that's it. And then about 20 minutes later, I was like, "Off." This is piss.
That's disappointing.
Yeah, so that was it. That was the wee intro to.
Well, I wish I could comment it more, but I don't know what it is. I've not seen it. So,
I swear to God, it's went under the radar and for a fucking good reason.
a city that gets hit by an asteroid or an asteroid that is a
It
city?
was hit by an asteroid, but it's all a story in somebody's head.
Right.
Doesn't spoil it.
All right, it doesn't spoil it, and it's just
Yeah,
that's
it
just
doesn't
how it is. All right. My God, it is warm today. Why is Scotland so shite with his weather, man? What is going on?
I was just saying it earlier. I feel every time we come in here, like it's roasting.
Yeah,
I brought a towel today. I literally brought a fucking towel, man.
This
Just
is
so, like,
this was purchased in Primark an hour before I got here because I wore a grey t-shirt and I was sweating my tits off. So.
Ryan was half naked 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, we're selling it. If anyone wants to join Geekified OnlyFans, we've got all those videos of Ryan getting changed if anyone wants them.
and I'll keep making them. I'll keep doing it.
I've seen the videos, it's alright. It's worth it.
Good content.
Yeah, it is that. So, what have we been saying? I think you had something as well you want to speak about. I was interested to hear. We've all been edged all week, man.
That's true. Mine's just kind of a segue.
Oh, right, okay.
But
He's linked it to something that I've said.
Oh, my bad. Okay, we'll get to that.
still edging you, still edging you.
Still edging me, still edging.
So we were actually discussing a little bit about the biggest kind of cinema season that comes up for in between all the summer blockbusters, which is Halloween, which is, I mean, we're literally in August. Halloween's a wee bit away. We're discussing what we're going to be talking about during Halloween earlier on, but one of the biggest franchises there fucking is now. Scream announced that they've got Christopher Landon is taking over for Scream 7. And if you don't know Christopher Landon is films like, if you've not seen it, please watch it because it's one of my favourites, Freaky.
Yeah, Happy Death Day as well.
Happy Death Day. Did you like Freaky? Because he's a horror buff.
Yeah, and I'm a slasher guy as well. Yeah, and it was kind of throwaway for me. It was okay. Like I will never watch it again.
So,
but
Happy Death Day, I've definitely seen. I think I
And
seen
Happy
that.
Death Day 2.
Yeah, I like the self kind of. Just kind of knowing what you are in a film. Do you know what I mean? Like, and Freaky, is that Vince Vaughn?
Yes.
One?
Yeah.
I've not seen that, but I love Vince Vaughn, so I think that could be really cool, right?
Who doesn't love Vince Vaughn?
Tons of people.
Oh,
But
really?
I wasn't.
Because
I wasn't a huge fan. Actually, it was. This is embarrassing because Freaky only came out in COVID.
Yeah.
So that was my turning point.
And he's
I was like, quite good.
and he's an open conservative in Hollywood and Mel Gibson's pal.
And wait, did we not like Mel Gibson?
Mate, I do.
I like Mel
like
Gibson.
Riggs, fucking Jesus,
Well,
man.
no,
That guy,
Lethal Weapon.
the dude is,
Yeah.
mate, fucking, without even mentioning it. You know, I took my mum to the Mel Gibson thing that was on in Glasgow recently, where he done the meeting and all that kind of thing. We had a great night. My mum's always loved Mel Gibson. And
An audience with it's called, isn't it?
yeah.
Right.
And he was awesome, man. He's fucking Mel Gibson. He's a fucking man. He speaks and he just resonates fucking aura and awesomeness.
Yeah.
But a bunch of people don't like him, right? And he's, I know he said some shit, man. Who fucking hasn't when they're drunk at 4 a.m?
Oh, that's
fucking,
sugar tits.
Sugar tits.
I don't know why that Aussie accent. He is Australian.
Yeah, but he really is. We've all said shit, but like he's the man, and his films are amazing. He's an amazing director. He's still a badass at his age. He's fucking. In fact, there is something I can tell you, Mel Gibson. I don't actually know. I'll tell you off screen, and then we'll decide whether we can tell on thing there or not.
That's what
it
makes
is
it juicy.
interesting. It is interesting. It is interesting.
That is juicy for it.
And maybe I'll even ask permission from my mum because, but he's a fucking man.
Did your
man.
mum and Mel Gibson?
No,
right, yeah.
I mean, I am Mel Gibson's son. Like,
I was gonna say, like,
I sound crazy like Riggs, but like, what is it he does? He's he's fucking boink.
I'm fucking calling you Riggs from now on because I just seen it.
We'll just get you eating Doug biscuits.
I used to eat Doug biscuits when I had a Doug. I don't even kid on, they tasted like Weetabix. They were awesome. I had a Doug Cod Shadow, and I would be like, one for me, one for you, one for me, one for the tasted like Weetabix. They were awesome, they were great. For a few years, I was a 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old eating Weetabix, Doug biscuits.
I just wonder why Ryan's so excited all the time. It's because we've got Doug biscuits.
Fucking Scooby snacks, Ryan.
Got one in my pocket right now. Right. He's an edgy boy. He's an edgy boy.
True story though. True story.
I can't.
Oh, what do I lie? Oh, what do I lie? Even for
Bringing in Doug biscuits next week.
not even to make it like
fuck me.
yeah, no, true, word it. Okay, so Mel Gibson.
So back to Mel Gibson.
Aye, is the fucking man. But obviously, a lot of people don't like him much. But, sorry, I can't get the noise.
He would have made a fucking awesome Wolverine.
Oh fuck yeah!
Old man Logan.
Yeah. Oh.
But have you seen his son? Son looks like a
Me?
young,
Yeah. Sorry,
But
okay,
his son looks like he could play Wolverine as well. I think he's an actor.
I don't know if you might not have seen it if you've not brought it up already, but the trailer for the Continental was just dropped yesterday.
Is that the John Wick?
Yeah.
Right.
Let me go back to
story.
this is an origin story for the Continental, and oh god, I forgot his name. What's his name? Winston.
Ian McShane.
Ian McShane.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Winston. That's
He's a huge Man United fan. I love it.
That was the guy who's the guy at the door who sadly passed away.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
What's his name? Oh God, I can't pronounce it. No, but he's a great African. I can't remember his name, but he's got a.
That's terrible. He passed away just recently.
He did.
You'll know who he is. But it's the origin story of him and Ian McShane's character, which I forgot as well.
That'd be really cool.
It looks fucking good. And Mel Gibson is like Ian McShane to John Wick, except obviously it's like back in the 70s. Mel Gibson is his kind of like you're doing this wrong, talking to Ian McShane's character. So obviously Ian McShane back in the 70s was fucking like John Wick. He was John Wick.
Oh, I like that a lot.
I like that a lot, man. I do. Yeah. The world of John Wick could I've yet to see 4. I've been holding it off because I really want to see it. So I've been waiting for like
it. 4 either. But it's on my list.
We'll get it together then, man. We'll get it because as soon as I seen John Wick 1, right? I was watching John Wick 1 like a kid in a candy store, man. Like laughing because I was loving this. For some reason, when I see a fight scene, I love that much. I laugh, right? Yeah. Because like it's when they do things right that actually work, but also add the dramatic flair, but to make it not as boring as like what a real fight would look like, but to add things are properly doable. Everything John Wick does is so kind of based in reality, but heightened. Do you know what I mean? Like,
that's true.
Because he's a fairly diminutive guy. He's not a huge guy. He's not knocking people out with just punches right and left. It's something I hate about like some films like Batman, like Christopher Nolan's Batman. There's a scene where Batman, they fight all these like militant guys who lead basically army or like what do you call them, mercenaries, right? Him and Catwoman. They knock them out, right? And then they sit around having a 5-10 minute conversation. And I'm like, well, guys are going to get up and just shoot you. Like they're not dead because you're Batman. They're going to get up. Yeah. And it's this idea that when you knock somebody out, they're gone. Right? Like that same done with. No. They're up a while later.
Usually unconscious is what, 30 seconds?
Yeah, like or the fucking brain damage. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's you've either given everybody their brain damage and they're not moving.
Who says Batman doesn't kill?
You know, or
Batman doesn't kill. They're just all vegetables.
On comas all over the place.
There's a whole hospital of vegetables. Guys like that.
But it does because the 2 best things I've ever seen do it is Daredevil season 1 especially, right?
100%.
And the long shot and John Wick. They do the thing, and because like John Wick genuinely gets people into triangle holds. He uses a body weight against him. He does it. Okay, every hot shot's a headshot. Maybe somebody that knows more about guns than I do can say that's bullshit. But to be honest, I've watched a lot of guys that know a lot about guns go, that's spot on.
I would
Have you
say-
seen him train for it?
Yeah.
He's fucking hitting them.
But that's
you
the
know,
stage. It was like some guy actually brought this up in a podcast I watched, and it was about the whole idea that John Wick never misses. Now it does, because a guy actually goes back and looks at 1, 2, and 3 because 4 wasn't out, and it showed you different bits with John Wick missing.
He does miss it because somebody hits. I know
Doesn't
sometimes
it?
it goes like that, like it goes up the thing, but it's realistic in its non-realism that you're brought into it enough that you're like, I can believe this guy's that much of a badass that he does that. But other films do things where you're knocking everybody out with one punch. You're doing this. I'm like, you're bringing me out to it because. Unless you're a superhero, do you know what I mean? It's like, but John Wick doesn't feel like a superhero. He feels like a very highly trained nutcase that can actually do it.
What you would expect from somebody in his skills, you know what I mean? Like there probably is assassins out there.
But that's what I mean. I even use this when I'm talking the whole thing about when people would think, we hate women or something. When I'm saying this, but it goes for small diminutive guys. But I don't want to see John Wick choke slamming 6'5" Russian gangsters when he's not that built guy. He's in good shape, but he's not that huge monster. I do like it when he grabs somebody, puts a triangle, flips them over, bang to the head. Do you know what I mean? Gets beat up by him, fights back. These are real kind of fight scenes. Do you know what I mean? These are.
That's what makes that for me. That's what makes the John Wick world more realistic and more, it feels more. There's more peril. You think that. Any character can fucking die at any point, and you say that.
And plus, all the stunts are real. But
you said that
done because the director was a stuntman, and you know that they take pride on trying to outdo themselves. Like it's like
that's what's brilliant about the guys. They worked with Keanu Reeves on The Matrix. They were the stunt coordinators in The Matrix.
There was, yeah.
And then
that's where he got his fame, wasn't it? That he was just stunt coordinator for The Matrix.
So what happened is. As far as I know, right? I
don't know. I remember reading The Matrix.
So they worked with him in The Matrix, and since Keanu Reeves done The Matrix, he's kept his training up.
Yeah.
He's kept training up, everything. And what these guys, they basically came with our first film, John Wick, that they were making, because they're obviously highly regarded stunt coordinators, but never made a film, never directed. So still, their film was a long shot. Right, and in 2014, when John Wick came out, it was still round about that age where there's a lot of Marvel films and stuff. So the $50 million film wasn't really happening anymore. You know, that kind of $50 million film that we'll take a punt on, it's got a bit and a weird premise, we'll take a punt on it. That wasn't really happening anymore. But they're trying to get a $50 million film made with John Wick. That's how much it cost. And they asked Keanu Reeves, will you be a part, obviously, with a cut rate, everything, because we don't have a lot of money. And Keanu Reeves is like, fucking A, I love you guys, I'll work with these. That's why it all worked. He was like, I'll be your John Wick. And then he trained, as you were saying, like you see him training, he keeps his training up. And do you know what makes that amazing? This is why John Wick feels real, is you don't need to clip away from him. He does all the stunts, and you can keep the camera trained on him through a one shot. Same way Charlie Hingmate does Daredevil. He doesn't do all his own stunts, but he does the majority of them. Do you know what I mean? And but Keanu Reeves does fucking almost everything.
I'm pretty sure Charlie Cox broke a lot.
Oh yeah.
When he was
I
doing
didn't know that.
Yeah, he pretty much fucked himself up.
But see how you can close up to him. You can fit. You can take the. You don't need to clip away like something when you're watching. I was watching on Terminator, and you go, "That's not him anymore."
Yeah.
Like it's and that makes it feel visceral and real and close to the bone. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and it's just it makes. I was watching John Wick 1 the first time with my girlfriend at the time and my mum, and I was in hysterics. And I'm like, "Why are you laughing at this?" He just stabbed the guy really close to the heart, like fucking look while I was looking at his eyes. And I'm like, because it looks so good, like it's actually fucking art told by a fight scene. Do you know what I mean? It's like
absolutely.
Stripping away all the amazing fight scenes that's in John Wick, right? It's absolutely insanely good. It changed the dynamic of cinema. Of you can't get away with shit fight scenes anymore because John Wick exists.
Yeah.
For me, some of the stuff is some of the best lines. Like some of the lines from the script are some of the best lines I've ever heard. And they're one of the best. I'll always remember it. Is the one with Halle Berry was playing the girl in the third one.
The dog girl.
The dogs,
Yeah.
man.
So
Man.
after like the two of them were meeting, they did the meeting. The two of them had met up again. It was kind of then there's this big massive battle scene. The two Alsatians are running about, ripping guys' throats out and all that. And it gets to the end, and it's John Wick and Halle Berry's character just standing there. And the two of them are fucked, right? The two of them have just been shot at, punched. He's bleeding, she's bleeding. Well, one of the dogs is just sitting like, and then she just turns around and she goes, "You shot my dog, John." And he just goes, "I know. I get it."
Yeah.
And it's like a callback from just 2 movies ago. Where the whole concept of this film was born from that. Like, born from that.
That was great about the first one. It pretty much was like, right, straight away we're into it. The dog dies, and you were fucking so impacted by that. But then it's like, right, we're just getting him back into the game, and it just went off.
That's why I still love the first one.
5-minute setup.
Yeah.
Aye. But I still love the first one so much because it's such a good storytelling. It does all that in such a short time that you see this guy, you see and even the way they portray him, and then it's like, the guy goes, bitch, everything's for sale, you know, and he's like, it's not for sale, don't understand why he speaks Russian. Then they treat him like a dick and they come get him. He gets beat up. It's the only time we see him get fucked up, because he gets taken off guard. But that's what I love about it, and they don't want to give away who he is. Obviously, if you've watched the trailers, you know, but if you watched that without any knowledge of what this film was, and then he's like, and this is, you're saying about the great lines in it, I love the first one for this. It is so there's 2 bits that kind of connect to each other. It's a bit where Joe Leguizamo, the guy that plays
John Leguizamo,
plays the thing, and he's
the
like
body shop guy.
And he comes to him and he's like, I got again. He's like, oh yeah, you killed his dog. You took his shot, boom, and he punches him. He's like, what the fuck we on you? You fucking. And then the gangster phones him like, I heard you struck my son. And he goes, yeah, I did, sir. Yeah, and he's like, why? Because he stole John Wick's car. He killed his dog. And this gangster, this is what I love about it, the setup, is at the same time being told that his things went through, whatever, that he owns everything. His right hand man's been like, sir, I went through it, but we own everything. And he's like, and he's totally away, no thinking about it. And he's like, where is my son? And he's like, no, sir, why are you not like celebrating? And no, but the best bit is, as he goes, because he stole John Wick's car, sir, and killed his dog. And he just goes, oh. The thing, you struck my son. The biggest, he just, oh. That tells you everything you need to know. And then he gets his son in front of him and he gives him a drink of whiskey and he's like, blah, blah, and you know, and he fucking punches him in the stomach and he goes, he's like, what, for some bitch with a dog? And he's like, it's not what you done, son, but who you done it to. And he's just like, John Wick will come for you. And it is just like this kind of like whoa. Yeah. It's one of the first times I've seen a film done where usually the antagonist is stronger than the protagonist. And if you usually want to write a story where the protagonist is stronger than the antagonist, you're going to kind of write yourself into a corner, right? But it's like the gangster guys are scared that this one guy, they're like, what the fuck are we going to do? And then you see why. And then you see, that's what I mean, it doesn't just like cut away. It's not like thing being taken. It's like, it's no matter. You see why. And you're like, I believe fully that fucking, and the soundtrack, everything.
I think every single time, like when you hear people say like, oh, who's bounty for, and they go John Wick, it's like every single person goes every hitman, every character, every person goes John Wick, and you go, fuck.
I want to see him kill a man.
And I think Marvel could learn a lot from that.
Oh yes.
But also, while we're on the subject of John Wick, there's a stunt guy called Scott Adkins who's in the 4th one, right? He's great, man. He's like got a fat suit. See, if you ever look at that guy, I've never seen a guy more primed to be Batman in my life.
John Scott Adkins,
Okay. Can he act though is the thing if he's just a...
He's excellent.
I thought he said a stuntman.
But he's an actor.
Right,
He's not had big roles, but he's good.
But could that be the future of like having a stuntman as Batman? And if he was a good enough
totally
actor
for that.
I'm totally
for if you get a stunt. I am an actor myself, so I really do believe in the acting. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know I'm always going on about he's no big enough for Superman, he's no this for this, and I do believe that because I like being brought into the story, but the acting is important too. You can't have a wooden cunt up there nobody to do it. You really need, but if they can act and stunt, fucking man, that's just what they should be doing.
Batman's a character is not hard to play, but Bruce Wayne, however,
Bruce Wayne's hard to play.
I disagree. Right, I disagree because I in some daft things in college before, not that I had to play Batman. I know it sounds daft, but we were doing. So when people have got what's called diverse, but so my pal was very kind of Joker like, and I didn't get that. But my pal was playing the Joker king, and he asked me to be in the device piece and play Batman and that, and I was like, fucking.
Oh, was it the cell scene?
No, it wasn't. It was, no, his own scenes. It was like his own device piece, so they're making their own thing, right? And
got excited.
I got I found it easy to play a kind of Bruce Wayne thing because all you need to play is a cannibal, and I love the way Christian Bale done this is basically play Bateman, but we are mere like fakeness to it. Well, Bateman is fake, but maybe I kind of want to go out and play. But like the Batman thing, I found really hard to play and not make completely boring. Because how do you just stand about going, yes, blah, 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 and not make it completely boring? Where my pal playing the Joker was able to do all this really interesting stuff to watch, and I'm standing going, yes, this is blah, 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 blah. And it's like, how do you play Batman but really interesting? And when you see somebody do it like, who I need to give most props to is basically the most recent Batman,
Robert
the Batman.
Pattinson.
I was deadly against him being Batman. Deadly
Everyone
against
was.
it because he's about the same height and weight as me, and I was like, I don't think I could be Batman, so I think I'd need to be a lot
Alright,
bigger.
Batman.
I mean, if I put on maybe a couple of stone, but that was my point. I was like, I think Batman should look like how Batfleck looked. He should look like an intimidating force. Do you know what I mean? Like,
This is I've got a wee question there on the basis of what you're saying. This is why I think like there was a lot of stick about him playing Batman based on his weight.
But can I cut in there?
Yeah.
The reason I was mostly, and that, you know, again, going off on this, but the reason I heard the reports of during the filming of Batman, how he refused to train. He refused to go to the gym, basically.
Yeah.
Like, he would train a wee bit, but he was like, no, I don't need it. And it was like, and I was like, yeah, you do, because you're fucking Batman. Batman's meant to be the pinnacle of, the reason he can do all these feats is because he's the pinnacle of everything he's trained in. You can't be Batman and have an alright kind of build, do you know what I mean? But to be honest, watching the film, every reason I thought I'd hate it is the reason I end up loving it. Because he was, like, I didn't want to see just a guy in a suit. I wanted Batman. But he did seem like maybe a guy in a suit.
Yeah.
But in the best way possible. Like, see that scene where he tries to get the flight suit and he fucks off the fucking bridge, you know?
I hated that.
You hated that?
Yeah,
But I
hated
loved
that.
it because it was, have you ever read Batman Year One?
Yeah.
But I know I seen Batman Year Two, but it was like, I like the idea that Batman can fuck up, that he can, and in his early years, do you know what I mean? And yes, he's wearing this. There's a couple of problems with the film. He gets shot close with a shotgun, and he's like, it's cool. And I was like, that's not. Your insides would be fucking liquid.
Yeah.
But every reason I thought, like, he did feel like not the Batman I wanted, but the Batman I needed. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yes,
fucking.
So bringing back to my point of what you were saying there, which is my question to you still exists, because on the basis of what you're saying, like you're saying like about the weight, do you think that people can't accept to have such an iconic character like Batman? Like you're saying, you want him to be fucking ripped and be buff when he maybe at that stage in his life as a character in the show, he's not that at that stage. Because like you said, it was like, he is Batman. Everything about him was a pinnacle of Batman, but physically he's in the story, he hasn't went on his training world. Mentally he's Batman, but he was not at his
That's
pinnacle
what
as a
I
human.
liked about the film was I thought he was a bit of a broken Batman. He's kind of at the beginning, he's saying he's not really there yet. But by going by usual Batman kind of lore, is like he goes away for years, he learns every martial art, he does the kind of thing, he comes back, he should be ready for action.
Yeah.
I can appreciate him not being as big. Like, one of the reasons I like old Batman, like in the comic book or graphic novel Return of the Dark Knight, and I think that's why I like Batfleck, is I like the kind of, you know, as you get older, your muscle maturity goes in that, so it's easier to put on mass and size than a young, slender man, right? Young, slender Batman is cool if he's in his 20s. I like big, bulky Batman when he's in his 40s.
Oh,
Do
sorry,
you-
Affleck.
right, exactly. He was Batman. I was like, that's cool. I was like,
It
that's
was, see seeing Affleck, and it was the same feeling I got when I seen Henry Cavill as Superman. But
Totally agree.
See when I seen that, seeing him, like, I think the clip
That
was
training
him,
scene?
Not in the Justice. Not what was it? Is it the Justice
His
League?
Man of Steel, when I seen
He
him, like, you know, he
didn't-
walks out the water and he steals the shirt.
Oh yeah, Man of Steel. Yeah.
It was like fuck. I was expecting David Attenborough to do some sort of narration because
No, because he
the
looks-
tiger comes out of the water.
I think in Batman vs Superman, yes, and Justice League, you just shot the bed.
Completely.
Like-
That's Joss Whedon though. That's fucking
yeah,
Joss
yeah.
Whedon. But completely.
Oh God, remember him?
Oh Jesus, right? But why did he decide?
And it's like he's been fucking.
Why did he decide to film Batman purely in daylight?
He's not been
to
good-
make him
he's
look
not
like an
been good
idiot.
since Buffy.
I loved Buffy. I still
Yeah.
rewatch Buffy. Buffy was fucking awesome. Spike's one of my favourite characters ever in anything. But fuck that guy, man. He fucked over.
Yeah.
He tried to bring too much. I hate when he tried to bring too much himself, like, to Justice League. It was like, okay, Zack Snyder's made this, but I'm going to come in and make it jokes and this and such. No, just finish the film. Do you know what I mean? Like, Ben Affleck's Batman got really hard done by, I think. Right, I really do. I think he was absolutely amazing in Batman versus Superman. That's not an amazing film.
No.
But Batman seems the closest I've seen to Batman being fucking Batman. That fight scene, remember I said about laughing during a fight scene? That's another fight scene that I was like, oh, it's not completely realistic, but it's what
the warehouse scene.
He bitch slaps him, doesn't he?
Oh, he probably kills a few people in that scene. He throws a full fucking foot in it, like, and you see the blood split out in that. But then again, people are mad at that, but they're forgetting this is meant to be a Batman 25 years in the future that's jaded. People don't like that, but that's what Zack Snyder was trying to say. The whole point of the original Justice League is he's like, oh, I can't kill again. I need to go back to being nice Batman. Do you know what I mean? But that fight scene where he comes in, it was like, have any's ever played the Arkham series in games? They obviously looked at those games and went, we need to fucking make that into a fight scene. And they did. And that was awesome. Because if you look at that to the Dark Knight trilogy, which I love, but the fight scenes are fucking shite. If you look at...
And the kill's not great.
The kill's not... a lot... the fight scenes are... Because Bane and Batman fight, maybe the two best fighters out, and they go, the whole time. Christopher Nolan kind of film fight scenes.
He can't actually. It's true,
But apart from that, I get feels. But what I mean is, when I seen Batman doing the actual Batman shit, I was like, fucking, that's awesome.
A lot of people are quite forgiving of Nolan because of he's a legendary director now, he's huge. But even like Talia al Ghul, when she dies.
Oh my god!
How did they get away with that? She actually goes, I'm dead now.
No, have you ever remember cartoons when you'd see the crosses go over their eyes? That's what it looks like. She goes like, where's the camera? Where's the camera? She goes like, there.
What the
And she's a great actress as well when she
She's
can.
a fucking
when,
Oscar.
But how do they let that direction go and go, that's the one, and
I know,
bang,
it's
and
like,
you go,
that's the one, now fucking sell it, that's it, wrap up, let's go.
that would be the one I would think people would be like, you see Chris Pratt doing like things backstage, you'd be like, oh, that's a joke, obviously.
He must have been away fucking at the vending machine when...
I mean, it's you're actually not probably wrong. It's probably a day they had like a
B team
thing made, B team in to do that, because how... Anybody, if you're wondering what we're talking about the scene in Dark Knight Rises where Talia al Ghul, you find out Talia, her dying scene, it's meant to be, and this is why I loved that film, I love Bane, but it all fell apart at the end for me, because Bane, the big thing, and then all you see is, he's dead, and then she goes, I am Talia al Ghul, and I was like, is this a parody? Am I watching Saturday Night Live's version of it right now? Christopher Nolan's got a few bits like that. If you look at that whole film,
I'm not the biggest fan of The Dark Knight Rises, and I know it's a lot of people's favourite. I went to see on opening night, right? So I went to see Batman Begins at like midnight. Then it went into Dark Knight. It was at the Grosvenor, and then at 5 a.m, we got to watch the very first UK screening of The Dark Knight Rises. And because you went from watching Batman Begins to Dark Knight to The Dark Knight Rises, I came out there thinking, I didn't fucking like that movie. And I was kind of like, that pissed me off.
See, I did. I watched it the first time and I was like, I love that. And then I thought about, and this is kind of a feeling I have for Christopher Nolan a lot. There's so much epicness in it and well-filmed scenes and all that, and so many good bits that you're like, I like this. But in retrospect, when you analyse it, you're like, man, I've not seen hardly any films with more holes.
Yeah.
Like,
Very weak.
there's so many holes, but you're so up for the ride because he's that good a fucking cinematic director that you kind of forget when you're watching it. And then it's in retrospect when you talk about this, you go, how did Batman go home after this? How did a punch in the spine rectify a vertebrae? How did fucking how did
Even the ending is so Christopher Nolan in a way. We didn't need that in a Batman movie where we're like, is he really alive or is he dead? Is it a dream? Because we've just seen Inception. Is this a dream? We didn't need that.
Yeah, I do.
As much as I like it, in a way.
But that's what I mean. There's scenes that look good, and you're like, but then you look into them and you're like, that didn't actually make any sense.
But it says we're very forgiving of these things. We are very forgiving.
I think it's because he creates such an epic vista. Otherwise, that you're like, this is awesome. And then it's kind of in retrospect, you're like, well, and The Dark Knight on its own was such an almost perfect film that it's hard. Like when you get the same things in Dark Knight Rises, it's hard. But then you're like, and it's hard for me because I still love that film. I'd still watch it. Even like criticisms I've got about it, I like in the first edit, you couldn't understand what Tom Hardy was saying. You had to dub
clean.
over it.
Yeah.
And even though his accent's weird, I love that. Me and my pal were even talking about it the other night. Shout out to Andy, Megatron. We were talking about the highlight. You're a big guy. For you. like, I love that. Me and my pal Nick used to watch this and love it. But when he's like, what's it he says to him? Like, what would I do if I took out that mask? It would be very painful. And he's like, you're a big guy. For you.
You say that like every single time in work. We've got working in hospitality. We've got wine coolers. So every single time someone says like, "Oh, I fucking hate this place," or like, "You complain about work," I'm like, "I'm so bored, everything's shit." You get a perfect echo when you pick up the wine cooler. So I work for a famous Italian company. I'm going to say the name anyway because I have to do it. So every time we say something like that, I pick up the wine cooler and put it in. It was like, "You might have embraced the ZZ. I was born in it." And it gets that perfect echo. And
it's great.
Usually makes people
But
laugh.
like, I love, that's what I mean. Like, I love Tom Hardy's characterization of Bane, right? Brings me back because I know Tom Hardy's like 5'9". Do you know what I mean? And it's like as big as he could get for that thing. He's not as big as the thing because Christian Bale's 6'2". I know I'm always on that stuff, but it's just
He was banging the rides.
yeah. But no, and that's cool. But like, Bane to me should be fucking like it is towered over by it, man. The whole reason he breaks his
that
back.
was the only thing that was bad about it. I'd say like the whole idea.
I think his performance is great, but don't pick somebody that's 5'9" when Christian Bale's 6'2" when they're trying to be Bane.
Completely agree.
And I hate even saying that because I think Tom Hardy brought an amazing thing to that character, an amazing characterization in that. But or even do it, but use some special effects to make him look like he's 6'5". Yeah. Like don't just leave, because that shit takes me out of it. This is why the whole thing I say it's not just about hating on women. When I say like women can't fucking hip toss a 6'5" Russian dude. It's any of it. It's when you get any kind of background, unless I slight that amount of background in it, but any amount that just it's the same people who know anything about guns and they see somebody fucking use an automatic rifle and use 1,000 bullets and never reload. They're like, that brings me out of it. Do you know what I mean? It does.
It's funny you should say that because I was actually thinking about something we were talking about earlier and I never said it because we were all kind of talking, but it brings it back to it and then we're talking about Batman I'm sorry, Anne Hathaway was a fucking terrible Catwoman.
Yeah.
She looks the part.
She looks the part. She looks gorgeous. She looks great. But I'm sorry, if we're going to have, if anybody is picking up the mantle and putting Catwoman back in it, I know we had fucking, what's her chops?
Halle Berry.
No, before, the new one.
Zoe Kravitz.
Zoe Kravitz.
Lenny Kravitz's daughter.
So, yeah.
All right,
so
okay.
with Zoe Kravitz, again, we're kind of falling into the same circles, but I think we discussed this at one point when we said that she's not able to do the shit she does because she's so small, because she's teeny. But she does actually get flung about in the Batman, which is fair play.
That's again why, because I was like, I thought I was going to see the same thing. She's going to do this. She's going to Hurricane Rana, fucking hip toss people, and then she can't get ass Andy Taylor. I was like, all right, okay, that makes sense.
She used her advantages, which was the weapons she had. She had
and her sexuality.
And her sexuality was a massive factor. But I am waiting for the day to have some massive Gina Carano looking motherfucker play Catwoman, and that's what I want. But no. I don't
want China playing Catwoman.
There's plenty of women out there who you would actually look at and go, hey, okay, you can fling me a bit.
No, right, true, but that's why I don't think...
You're laughing.
But see, we mentioned this earlier, but see we're talking about Wonder Woman, then I totally agree, right? But not Catwoman. Catwoman, to me, is cat-like. She's known for her sexuality, her slippy fucking... She doesn't need to be an amazing fighter. She has to be an amazing stealth burglar, blah, blah, blah. She can stab people, she can be a seductress, but she doesn't need to be an amazing fighter.
Ronda Rousey.
No, Michelle Pfeiffer was the panic.
Ronda Rousey, listen, Ronda Rousey's always annoyed me because her stupid flat face. But like,
imagine
fucking
giving my kink suit to the world.
Maybe.
With Gina Carano and Ronda Rousey.
I do agree, but what I say, we said this before the podcast started. We were talking about Wonder Woman, and what was it you said about Gal
Gadot.
Gal Gadot. What was you said about her? Because she's been said
that.
about. Well, no, but we said she's probably going to be still Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm not into that because I just think if you're going to be starting a new universe,
I totally agree.
That literally just came out this week. That was James Gunn came out and said that she is part of the future.
Can I do that?
That's backtracking. I'm sorry.
So this was a topic that we were discussing. We're going to bring up. Like James Gunn officially came out and said that Gal Gadot is still part of the universe. Aquaman is still part of the universe.
What?
after all of this great reset. So this was the question I was going to ask you.
Great reset. Okay, we'll do the correct for it, Chris.
I'm sorry. It feels
You will
very
own no
personal.
superheroes and be happy.
This
All
feels-
geek hands shall smash at once and the
We
great
are the
reset.
elite about superheroes.
It feels very personal to Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill.
Yeah, it
I'm
does.
like, we want everybody else, but not you
but
two.
not you
guys.
two.
Even though
Fuck
you
off.
two are the personification of Batman and Superman,
Yeah.
fuckies.
I don't,
Yeah.
Also, when we were talking about Ben Affleck's Batman earlier on, I wanted to say I would have loved to have seen what he would have done with his directed Batman movie.
Right? See, before they fucking ruined his soul, right? I remember reading this, right? You know how Kevin Smith and Ben Affleck are friends, right? Kevin Smith, I read this, goes on record talking about Ben Affleck, right? Saying he saved his life. Because when the whole time when they were filming, I'm trying to remember that correctly as I say it, right? But
I've never heard this.
so there's a whole thing, this is interesting, right? When Kevin Smith was filming Clerks, and he basically bankrupted himself to film Clerks, right? And then after it, Clerks made some decent money in that, but not enough. It was still too indie, not enough to really cement other films and all that, right? And I don't know if I'm missing one, but I think he might have done another one, and maybe Chasing Amy.
Dogma.
Mallrats.
No, Dogma. I'm leading to that.
Mallrats next.
No, so this is. I'm trying to remember. I don't know if it was Chasing Amy first or
Sorry, we
Mallrats.
both got excited.
No. So have any ever seen Chasing Amy?
Mallrats.
yeah,
then
I've seen
Chasing
Chasing
Amy.
Chasing Amy's an amazing film, right? And he starts bringing in like Jane, Silent Bob and all that. But then Mallrats, as you said, right? But the thing is I'm trying to remember this as I say it. Might actually need a Google search. But Kevin Smith went broke, right? Try to film these films. Made friends with Ben Affleck, blah, blah, blah. Ben Affleck started going up the way, right? Round about the same time he filmed Daredevil, right? And this is why I'm kind of spotty with my memory about this, right? But round about the same time he filmed Daredevil, so Ben Affleck's got up the way, and Kevin Smith is like, fuck me, I'm fucked. So basically, Kevin Smith lost his house, right? And I'm remembering as I'm saying, Kevin Smith lost his house, and Ben Affleck said, "Morning, mate, because you gave me my shot in Mallrats," right? And that's why I'm filming Daredevil and being fucking here. So Kevin Smith and his family lived with Ben Affleck for maybe a few weeks, months, whatever, right? And Kevin Smith noted that Ben Affleck was such a big Batman fan, right? Had all the comics, all the graphic novels, such a big Batman fan, he even put in a secret bookcase in his house, like Batman's bookcase and stuff, right?
Oh my god, that's
Right, like-
such a great idea.
Really, right? When Kevin Smith spoke to, because we're pals after Mallrats, spoke to Ben Affleck, and please somebody do that actually, because I'm spotty my memory here. I remember reading it and thinking it was awesome. But
I'm wondering if you're maybe getting confused with Dogma.
no, I know it's about this. Like, you'll understand why in a second.
Yeah.
When Kevin Smith was speaking to Ben Affleck about doing Daredevil, right? And Ben Affleck's a big Batman fan, but not such a Daredevil fan, right? And he said to Kevin Smith, "It's the closest I'll ever," as he's on record, "it's the closest I'll ever get to playing Batman." That's what he said to Kevin Smith, because he's that much of a Batman fan. He paid a silly amount in the first big house he's got with his big paycheck to put a bookcase in his house like Batman.
Yeah.
Massive Batman fan, right? So when Ben Affleck got a chance to be Batman, and Kevin Smith was talking about this at the time, he's like, "I'm so happy my boy got Batman." And this is why I was listening to Kevin Smith's podcast, and he was talking about this. He's like, "That motherfucker saved my life. Where me and my family couldn't pay our bills, we had to get chucked out our fucking Hollywood house, all this gang. He let us stay with us, he let us do this, and the motherfucker's got a bookcase like Batman." And he said to me, "Playing Daredevil is the closest I'll ever get to playing Batman. So I am so happy that my motherfucker's playing Batman." Right? That's the way he had about it. So think about everything Ben Affleck that brought to that role. Wanting to play Batman so much,
Yeah.
he bought a bookcase and saying Daredevil's my closest to Batman and all that kind of thing. He gets given the first role in fucking Batman versus Superman, gets in that amazing shape, does that amazing fight scene, does all this shit, then gets fucked
Yeah.
for the rest of the fucking cinematic universe. He gets told he's going to make a Batman film. He gets he writes it. It all falls to shit. His Justice League appearance is shit. Okay, his own problems. He's an alcoholic at the time and all that. His Justice League appearance is shite. And this is Ben Affleck's basically been like the filming of Justice League, all that shit, and everything. It ended me. I didn't want to be Batman anymore.
Yeah.
And that's partly to do with how they portrayed him. He wasn't happy about how Batman was like a running joke. Let's see the lines about like, "What's your superpower? I'm rich." And how
Does Joss Whedon though?
That's Joss Whedon.
That's shit.
And the Justice League one, he's battered on the ground in the daylight, like, I'm going to get up. Oh, no, I'm not. Like, that's not Batman. And Ben Affleck was like, fuck this. I'm not happy. Good. He's such a Batman fan.
I just think they fucked it the wrong way. They had Man of Steel. It was perfect to have another Batman movie and then have Batman vs Superman, or even have it build to that. Like, have them go at it. Batman vs Superman could have been amazing, but they didn't have a Batman film in between Man of Steel and Batman's first introduction was in Batman and Superman. And you're like, you can't just drag somebody in and fully flesh out a character in a film that's supposed to be centered around two people.
I've got a lot of love for Affleck, like a lot of love for him. And I think, call me out, by the way, if anybody doesn't know this, or I'm completely wrong, I think he's the only Hollywood actor to play 3 major superheroes.
Well, let's think. Daredevil,
Batman, and Superman.
Yeah.
In the 1950s.
Because he played.
I can't remember his name.
Is it George Reeves?
George something's the guy that originally played Superman.
Officially, he's only a Hollywood actor that's played 3 major superheroes so far.
It's a technicality because he played the actor that played Superman. He's still in the suit. He's still in the suit.
He's still got the suit.
Still factual.
Yeah, he's still got the suit. So I think he's the only guy so far to do it. Because loads of twos.
Chris Evans, the Human Torch, Captain America. Is that
He was also in a film called The Losers. Chris Evans.
He was. Which is a comic book film.
I like it went off there, but I don't know where it was come from.
Good, it's all good.
It may have been me spitting, man. Don't worry.
Yeah, he was in
I
The
wouldn't say
Losers.
he's a superhero because he was a geeky guy in Losers.
Yeah, but it's based on a comic book.
So he's
No,
only a comic
superhero,
book.
but I know. But
As superheroes, he's played Batman, Superman, and Daredevil.
I'm trying to think. Trying to go through all my Rolodex. I'm trying to think. I think you may be right. No, I think you may be right.
I'm a huge fan of Kevin Smith. I'm just going to say that.
God.
I love him, right?
Back and forth, dude.
but
Back
also,
and forth, man.
I'm sorry.
About Kevin Smith and Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck still appears in all of Kevin Smith's movies. You know what I mean?
Right, I'm going to.
I think for once I'm going to be the intermediary here. So
Yeah,
I'd like to actually.
I think Kevin Smith is the biggest hot pile of garbage that's ever existed on
I
planet
can't
Earth.
agree more. You know,
That's
anyway,
harsh.
so when you go
That's harsh.
After Dogma.
Dogma is fantastic, right?
Dogma
Dogma
is
After
has
Dogma.
peak, but
Kevin Smith has made nothing but garbage since that point.
have you not seen Tusk?
Yes, I have. And that's
in point.
fucking loved it. Red State.
Oh, Red State. I'll give on a slight technicality because it wasn't just him that was
Jay
making
and
that
Silent
film.
Bob Strikes Back.
Oh my god, I turned it off.
Have you not?
Yes,
No, sorry.
That's what I'm
Sorry,
saying,
I'm
like-
not. I was actually trying not to cut in here, but the thing
No,
is,
you're-
I loved Kevin Smith. Clerks, Mallrats. My fucking cousin, my fucking big brother showed me Mallrats and used to have a joke about it that he would always say to me because I loved Mallrats, I loved Clerks. I showed my pals Clerks 1 and 2 and they all loved like fucking then Dogma. I was like, fucking this is my shit. This kind of type of reverent comedy with even introducing stuff about hell and heaven and fucking this guy speaks to me.
But
I would
name
watch
me something he's made.
even to the
but
point,
I'm-
Chris, when Kevin Smith made what's the film with John McClane, Bruce Willis, he made the film Blue.
Oh, he didn't want to do that.
No,
man.
but did
Was
you
the
hear what
cop-
happened
was
with
it
that?
not Cop, something that was like.
But
that?
did you hear what happened with that? Like
Cop Out.
Cop Out, right? And Kevin Smith, there's a famous like speech or podcast. I think it's a speech on he's on stage when he's talking about it. Basically, he talks about how working with Bruce Willis, and it's a shame for Bruce Willis now because he's got dementia and all that. So I'm not trying to talk ill, but at the time, he worked with Bruce Willis and it was his favourite star. Kind of like me growing up loving Die Hard. He was like, I've got Bruce Willis, my fucking thing. And then he says, he goes in this whole speech, a famous speech for Kevin Smith, and he speaks about how disappointed and gutted he was. He even writes in his book, he writes on everything, and he speaks about it constantly, about how Bruce Willis is so hard to work with. He was a dickhead, and he says even this famous story how he's walking with him through the street, and a bus goes by, and all these people go, John McClane, Bruce Willis, blah, blah, at the hang, and he goes, you must love that, and he goes, I fucking hate them all. And Chris Smith is like, oh my god, like Kevin Smith's like, oh my god, like what the fuck? So he speaks about how much an asshole Bruce Willis was filming up.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm still feeling Kevin Smith. Do you know what I mean? But then throughout the years, he becomes a fucking little bitch, woke lefty, fucking like the most amount he could like just totally bitching at everything, crying constantly about like a comic to be released, and he's like, it's just so beautiful. And I'm like, mate, it's the worst comic ever. What are you talking? I lost respect to him.
Yeah.
I still love those early films. I still love Clerks. I still love Mallrats. But this is why I think I'm in the interview because I I don't like him anymore, but I used to love him.
I'm sorry, but we can't say we're geekified. He's the biggest geek.
No. I've got.
But we're not bitchified. He's a bitch.
I don't have.
I don't
I'm going to say I don't have any issue with Kevin Smith as a human being.
I do.
Yeah.
I think so. But Ryan's taking the politics side, and that's I don't have. I don't.
No, just the bitch side. I don't like bitches.
That's what I mean. I was
No.
like, but take him as a person. I'm taking about him as the artist, as a director, as a writer. What the fuck is he made?
Yeah, I mean, he
Sorry,
knows.
and I'll tell you even now, Tusk was the one that made me go, somebody gave this cunt money to make
What was
this
the one he
film.
put his daughter in? That was terrible. I had to-
Yoga hosers.
Yoga Hosers.
Right.
That's it.
I had
That
to
was
turn that
terrible, it
off.
was
I had to turn that
Hosiers is
off.
a movie about two musicians.
And this
Hosier
is,
that fight to
but
the
this
death
is the
to
thing.
raise
I
funding.
loved, and to this day, it's Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. The original, like, it was
Yeah, the second one was great as well, man.
No,
the second one was
but
great.
okay.
I loved it.
But this
emotional, maybe cry.
maybe I didn't watch enough of it. But the thing is Jay and Silent Bob. I loved how these two characters that were for Chasing Amy. Chasing Amy is a fucking amazing film. A slept-on film by Kevin Smith about fucking. You know, they've got so many characters in it that appear in Ben Affleck's in it. They appear in different things. The whole thing about falling in love with a girl that might be a lesbian, but then try to get there, but finding. I had a whole Chasing Amy moment of myself, right?
It's
And I was.
probably his most underrated film
I truly believe in it. And I think it's his
I
most
very
poignant
believe-
film.
yeah.
His most poignant and actually speaks to the human condition the best. Because basically, long story short, Kevin Smith's film Chasing Amy falls in love with a lesbian. Blah blah blah. How do you do this? But she kind of likes him, but she's a lesbian. Turns out she never used to be a lesbian, but she get banged by too many guys at one time. So it's like fucking anyway. No putting it the best, but it's a really good film, right?
Yeah.
Really poignant, really makes you think about yourself and your own neuroses about relationships and all that kind of stuff, right? Then those two characters appear in Dogma, and they're fucking like, you've got all this shit, it's awesome. Jay and Silent Bob, the first film, me and my friends would still quote, "It is you that is the asshole." Like, went about the internet and all that.
Yeah.
We'll still quote that. I put on Jay and Silent Bob 2, and I had to turn it off.
I know, but I'm not defending him as a filmmaker. I think
That's it.
he makes movies that he is capable of making and he likes, and that's fine. And I respect that because he's not making movies like he's Christopher Nolan. He's making movies like my audience like my stuff because it is what it is, right? It's not Oscar worthy, but see, he's got a lot of heart in his movies. And see,
that doesn't
see
make-
Clerks free. Watch it.
I've not seen Claire C yet. I've not even noticed it.
I'll-
I didn't even notice
I'll
it.
It's
always-
emotional. Like,
I'll
it's
always,
emotional.
I'll always disagree, and I'll take the underdog side on this one.
Yeah.
Because there's a fuck ton of young people in Hollywood that are trying to make money, just getting no money spent on them. They're desperate to make film, and they gave. I'm going to Google it. How much money they gave to make Tusk?
But then
Because I fucking hate it.
No, but I can't.
Who says we need to have filmmakers that can only make good movies? We want filmmakers to make movies. That's the main thing that we love movies for, right? But
3 million. Tusk was only 3 million.
I've watched a lot of shit movies,
Yeah.
and you know I don't rank Kevin Smith's movies in that bracket. But
I
there's
think
a
I know
lot,
what you're
worse.
I think I know what you're saying, right? I think I know what you're saying in the way, but that coming there about like how
That's-
why do filmmakers have to make good films? Because they do. It's the same way good artists need to create
Oh,
good
I'm not
artists.
saying-
Good
yeah.
musicians need to create good. You can't just bang a drum and hit this and then go put it on your Spotify. Like,
Yeah.
And I don't like the idea of somebody who's made good shit before, who's capable of making irreverent good comedy, who gets so lost in their own weeds that they think they can release whatever the fuck they want. They can just put their daughter in it, they can do whatever they want, and we'll just eat it up.
Lost,
you're
in,
giving-
Lost in Weeds was absolutely spot
giving-
on because he's been smoking that shit for a long time. But no, I didn't mean like we have to justify. Like I'm just saying everything doesn't need to be a masterpiece.
But if
I
you're
get
getting
that.
paid millions for it,
Yeah,
not
that's what I mean.
does have to be a masterpiece, but yes, it does. Sorry.
I don't disagree with the masterpiece. I get what you're saying. Like, it doesn't have to be a masterpiece, but it still has to be a good movie. Tusk was fucking appalling. For me, Tusk. I'm sorry, I know
But
we're
yeah.
going to.
No.
And James Silent Bob's
but
appalling
then
for me,
again,
but I love the first
he
one.
has his fans, so his fans
But I was his
like
fan.
that. Like so, it's not as if like he's not trying to appeal to the mass. He's got his
that's okay.
fans.
No, he's a
he's
cult
trying to
guy,
please his
and
fans.
but the thing is I love these cult films. I'll still go back and watch Dogma and Chasing Amy and fucking the Clerks. Like they've got some of those quotable best lines in it. And it's my big cousin Sean, who I talk about a lot, who showed me Clerks in the first place, Mallrats, now because he used to fucking slag me for some of the slaggings in it. And he's like, you need to watch this film. I love that shit. But if a filmmaker is going to start just serving you shit in a fucking sandwich and say, eat it because I'm that filmmaker, I'm like, nah, man. And then at the same time, this is where I will show my bias. I am totally biased because I've seen him in far too many things in real life, and I'm like, you're a little skeeving little bitch. And I'm like, I can't, like, and there's something I really dislike. And it's celebrity, and it's something I see a lot these days, and it's celebrities and especially comedians and people who used to push the envelope, closing the door behind them is what it's. Now I've made it. I made my whole career on being racy, on being like pushing the envelope, on like saying jokes at pain and like, and now I've made it. Nobody else can do it because that's offensive. That's this, that's that, that's that. Don't talk me, because I made my fucking millions and saying jokes and nobody liked it at the time is pushing things to envelope and being a bit racist and being a bit sexist and blah, blah, blah. But now that I've made it, nobody else is allowed to.
I don't think Kevin Smith's doing that, though.
I think he is, though, because he made Clerks, Mallrats, all these jokes have pushed things, and now he's such a fucking Hollywood lefty. He's like, I don't like that, I don't like. It's the same way. I grew up with Eminem. Eminem was my fucking bard, right? And now he's a bitch, right? Who won't say the word. We're going to get fucking, but we can bleep this, right? Oh, okay, we won't say the F word, right? So we don't. But it's like, dude, you used to say it.
We don't know what you meant.
Yeah, but you don't say the
ninja.
No, not N word. They just say the N word, the F word.
Oh, right, okay.
Like the same thing that a thing with sticks.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, dude, you used to say that word after every sentence. And now you're like, oh, I can't say. But now, it's the same with Eminem. It's like, it's closing the door behind you. Because Eminem came forward and he said, and one of the worst raps I've ever heard him ever say, and it was like, or get Trump and again, and it was like, I'm going to put a line in the sand. If you support this guy politically, you're not my fan. And I was like,
is he saying that about Trump?
No, yeah, completely. It's one. I
didn't even hear that.
Oh, it's why so many people went off with it, because for the guy that used to say, and I grew up in Eminem, for the guy that used to say, I'm the leech that stands on the thing about freedom of speech, and the guy used to say, fight for the right to fight for something that they might not like, and all that. The guy who was cancelled before cancelling was a thing, who had protests telling him, you hate gays, and he was like, no, I'm like, fucking, I don't hate. Homophobic, no, you're just herophobic, staring at my balls, watching my genitals bulging, all that shit.
He
and now
he's faggot multiple times.
That's what I wasn't going to say, but
sorry.
Is that society?
I was talking about Irish meatballs. Don't know what you're talking about.
Is that society though that's making it harder for these guys though? Because you don't hear. But listen, you don't hear Dre and Ice Cube and all that saying this shit anymore.
And bitches.
Aye,
they used to talk about shooting people on the street. Like that's a lot worse than saying like you're a fucking
Irish meatballs.
This is my point, is when the culture changes.
A bag of sticks.
But this is my point. No,
sorry,
but when the culture changes, they change, and that I cannot respect. Because the thing is, it's okay for people to grow. It's okay for people to say, look, the bear was like Mike Tyson. When Mike Tyson, I've seen the podcast, like crying because he's like, I don't want to be the guy I used to be, and I'm scared because that guy's still in there and I don't want to come out. But Eminem, he made his fucking millions on being the guy that would say it, the guy that would say all this, his whole thing was, this is a rap, it's a comedy, it's not real life. And then even in 2017, he was still saying that word, right? Bunch of sticks. And then recently, there's an interview, and he's like, I thought I would delete that thing off my album because I thought that was just too offensive. And I'm like, mate, go fuck yourself. You're only doing that because that's the fucking thing now. And he had the whole thing up against go suck all the dicks in the world. Take a bag of dicks and suck all the dicks, man. Yeah.
But then again, how do you feel about me as a person? I don't want to be the person I was even 6 months ago. I want to be a better version of myself. I don't necessarily, but like that's me being I'm growing up as a mental health thing.
Are you making money on the person?
No, but I get it.
That's my point. But the thing is, okay, I'll give you an analogy in that way, right? Even without the money, which is a great point, because the thing is, when you make to those heights that you can say those things because of that ladder of offensiveness that you climbed that made you popular, right? But even if we take that all out, right? And you say you don't want to be the person you were 6 months ago. That's the way I think we all should be as men. We should all be trying to evolve and change and be better people all the time. That's what it kind of is. You should always try to level up, right? But there's a difference between not wanting to be the person you were 6 months ago and totally, like...
a woke version of you.
But not even a woke version, totally going against everything you used to stand for. Like, I could say to somebody, look, yeah, this is a point I had. Even, like, for instance, arguing with my friend. I was arguing with my pal last night about something, stupid things, dramatic shit to do with pals, no inviting a holiday, blah, blah, whatever, right? I'm explaining to my pal why I'm pissed off, and I'm fucking blah, 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 aggressive and all that, right? Somebody gives you their opinion, how they came for you, and you're like, okay, I'm still right, but I know where you're coming from. Right, so you can change your opinion that way. You can still, you can be like, I have taken more knowledge into it and blah, blah, I see where your confidence, I think we all should evolve constantly. You should take people's points in and evolve and change with it. There's a difference between something that I stick by. This is my thing. This is my shtick. This is how I earn my money. This is my morals. Yeah. And then turning around and being like, you know what? Now that it's not the trend, no, not me anymore.
But then
like,
are they all scared of being cancelled though?
But no, that's why I said closing the door behind you.
Yeah.
You could still say, listen, I've changed. Like Eminem could come out and say, I'm nearly 50 now. I don't feel the same way I did when I was 20. That'd be cool. Okay. Yeah. But turning around to people in the 20s now saying, you're a racist, you're a sexist, you're this, that. It's like, dude, you've got lines that literally say homophobic. Nah, you're just heterophobic. You've got hate fags, yeah, the answer's yes. He literally says that in a song and then he's going to say...
You've now got, like, so Eminem was famous for, like, slandering people and bringing people down, and that's the stuff he's saying is not okay. But we're now got, like, famous female rappers. I won't say... no, I can't...
Please do.
I can't remember who it is, actually.
No, give me a line, I might know.
The line was... I've got a tighter pussy than Nicole Kidman's face.
That's quite funny. But I don't know. Right. It's probably Cardi B or Nicki Minaj.
I think it's I don't listen to Nicki. I listen to Cardi B, so I think it's Cardi B.
Are they not the same person?
But we're laughing.
More or less.
Right, we're laughing. We're laughing like fuck, right? But that's the kind of stuff that Eminem says, I can't say stuff like that anymore. But now, we've now got female rappers who say that about
well, the thing is, we're going just because of YouTube's rules, we are going to need to bleep some of this because it's been said now anyway. But the thing that annoyed me is he said in one of his, I'll even say F words so we don't need to bleep it from now, right? I'll say F words so we don't need to bleep it from now, right?
What's a bunch of sticks? Am I being dumb?
Well, I suppose this is a different context. So a faggot is a bunch of sticks rolled together like that, and fucking a faggot of sticks.
Yeah. Is that all you?
I've never heard this.
No, it's literally
it's a bunch of sticks.
I kept on saying Irish meatball because in Ireland, a faggot is an Irish meatball.
No, if you well, there you go as well. But a bundle of sticks rolled together out is a faggot.
Fuck off. Seriously?
Yeah, no, really.
Which makes no sense at all.
I am not even kidding. My mind is... This isn't probably not going to be an episode. On camera. I've never heard this.
No, we should be able to say that because we're literally...
Yeah, we'll keep
algorithm.
It. Yeah.
No, the algorithm... We're talking about a bundle of sticks, is wrapped in a bundle as a faggot.
I'm not even saying this for clout. I've never heard that in my life.
I know, but not a lot of people have. But then you're rolling up a bunch of sticks and going, right, you faggot.
Yeah, but even like I said, like the famous you scumbag, you maggot, you cheap lousy.
Scumbag, you maggot, you cheap lousy faggot, but they don't fucking...
It's an Irish meatball. So Irish meatballs were famously made with using... really bad products. It was shite products. So a cheap, lousy faggot was something that wasn't made with any meat. It was made with suet and there's no.
But what did I tell you at Scotland Rule recently? Context does not matter. Apparently.
All this will be edited to make us look terrible.
There's going to be loads of bunch of us going, bunch of sticks.
Faggot.
If you agree with us, type bundle of sticks in the comments or get a gift for something.
I said, every day's a school day. We're learning stuff about faggots.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Let's get back
I'm always
back on track. We're almost, we've only got like 5 minutes, 10 minutes at the very most.
Okay, talking about faggots, did you see how the Island Boys are like...
With a hot dog?
No. Have you seen how that... Right, that is evolved since then. Right, so the Island Boys, the guy, we're the Island Boys, or whatever the fuck it is. You know that they're gay and releasing a gay porn video? They fuck each other? They're like doing... Have you not...
They're not. Dude, it's not true. Honestly, it's not true.
I've seen a video of them sucking each other's dick.
No, like, the one when he's on the if you look at it, he's on the right and he's on the bottom and he's got it's a hot dog.
No. I'm really sorry. I would prefer to live in the. I would really prefer to live in the world of it, but it's not. Have you not, mate? It's a whole thing. See, because they like.
I thought this was all clout.
No,
because
dude. No.
You get to see the
What
video.
the fuck
Where's my phone? I can show
Island
you.
Boys are right rappers.
Right.
Remember the Island Boys? We're just Island Boys, and then the Island. It was like a thing they got famous for some dumb reason recently, right? And it was the Island Boys, blah blah. I wish this was fake. Have you not seen them kissing each other on the neck and getting after each other and all that?
They're brothers.
Yeah, their brothers did. It's twin brothers. It's not okay. It's the furthest thing for okay. But this is
fucked up.
What's the OnlyFans?
but this is for clout.
I'll tell you what, it's not Geekified OnlyFans.
Google it. If you don't, I want to see your reaction. Do me a favour, go there, Google it right now. I want to see your reaction, right? No, please, hurt your soul for me. Please hurt your soul for me.
See my search history.
Yeah, I know, but they're going to anyways.
That's going to be the cleanest thing. Then she's going to say, "Why is that?"
But I shit you not, because I see a bit of this. Right, I told you before how flicking through my Instagram and snuff videos end up being in it, right?
What?
God, seriously, Instagram's fucked out. Like, he's got it.
What the fuck?
Why is there a
Big black bar, but they're sucking each other's dick. And
I
that's
know,
not.
just get a wee peck on each
No,
other.
they're going to start getting after each other in a minute and kissing each
Why
other on the
the
neck.
This
fuck
is
are these
YouTube,
cunts
so we're not.
famous?
Yeah,
Why the fuck are these kind of people famous?
Because he
This
released
is
a
what
song.
pisses me off about
Because-
everybody is why the fuck do people like this get famous when you know?
I'll tell you exactly why. And I'm sorry. For some reason, I don't know, there's also the creepiness going into it, but people that have no talent but have that drive will usually make it before people with talent and no drive, right?
Yeah.
I know a girl, I'm not going to say names, right, because she might watch this. I know a girl who...
If you do, subscribe.
Yeah, please do. I'm not talking shit about you. Boozy. But, like, fucking...
Her name's going to be Susie.
No, don't say, oh shit, no, you fucked me up.
Yes.
Sorry, my
Susie.
It's all right.
my ex is called Susie, so this could apply to either.
Allegedly.
Okay.
Allegedly. Right?
Allegedly.
Susie.
Allegedly. This girl, wait, oh fuck, I feel bad saying it now, but fuck it. Who has...
You've doxed her?
No, but she got it, like, she pushy. She pushy her thing, and she's more than we've got right now. More than fuck it. Do you know what I mean? But you're like, I'm trying to be pure careful because of
like, you're even missing out consonants.
Well, because
Could you see the struggle?
everyone watching this who knows me is not going to know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like, but this nitwit is, and you know, just as a drive. Just has that drive, whereas I don't care if I've got talent, I don't care if I can't sing, I don't care if I'm not good looking, I'm going to push through, and they do it. Well done. People that something that they just don't. So when you're saying, you know, how does that? It's because motherfuckers like that will do anything for that. And these Island Boys is like, you know, they rose to fame for that daft song, the Island Boys song. I shit you not. I started going through my Instagram and I was like, why are they kissing each other on the neck? Why are they kissing each other on the lips? Why are you doing that to your bro? Oh no! Like, it's horrible. And now they're releasing OnlyFans and Pornhub videos where they're fucking each other.
No,
and it's like,
man.
dude. And there's even weird things where it's like, they might have been part of Einstein Island, but yeah, they're really doing it. It's not a joke. I've seen the video with
Just signing up just now.
And it's
Sorry, continue.
like,
Continue
honestly,
talking.
the world's fucked. This is the problem, man.
We live in a dystopia.
We've got this podcast, and I know it's not fucking life changing, but we love doing it, and we all get a buzz off doing it. And if we could do it full time, it'd be fucking so much better. But you get cunts like this making fucking hundreds of money because they're winching their brother.
right.
Like.
That kid on weed operators, I'll gaff.
brothers,
I'll
I
gaff
know.
you like right now against his views.
I've got zero gag reflex, guys, just so you know.
Man, I don't have morals, so don't tempt me. Aye.
Why does this? It's always homoerotic by the time this episode.
That's why people from the LGBT community should be that mad at us, man. Come on, look how homoerotic we are. You should be happy.
Right,
We're just appealing to our audience.
right. We need to. We've covered up quite a lot. You cover what stuff you want to cover.
No.
No, well, come on, I want to hear it.
It's a segue from yours.
It's a segue, so I'll summarise my segue, and that was literally David Ayer. As David Ayer, wasn't it?
The Ayer Cut.
Yeah.
Right, so the Ayer Cut. So James Gunn, obviously in charge of the entire fucking DC universe at the moment, which is I don't know, a garbage fire. Who knows what it is? We got Blue Beetle coming out really soon. Hopefully it's decent. I quite like the look of it. I'm not gonna lie.
I like the early 2000s look.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's got an old school vibe. It feels like an old 80s kind of happy family. Weird shit. I quite like it.
Just a film you can turn your head off and watch.
Yeah. So that's I'm into it, and I hope it does really well because I'm looking forward to it. And I think Sholo from Cobra Kai is amazing. He's a great actor, and I hope he does well with it. But so David Ayer, the cut, he basically said to James Gunn.
Sorry, I just see me try to play a Rubik's Cube there.
I just want to. Can we just?
That's why I've been sitting watching him the whole time. I'm so sorry.
We're just. I don't think. Don't cut on me when he does this.
No, don't cut on me either, man. Like,
just cut on Ryan trying to get his lemonade out. That was hilarious.
I played Tetris there, that motherfucker. Like fucking real life Tetris. Shut the fuck up.
Just cut to Ryan trying to get a lemonade. That was better than anything I could have said there. Right, so James Gunn has got his whole DC universe is starting, and he spoke to David Ayer. David Ayer obviously mentioned the David Ayer cut of Suicide Squad, and James Gunn's direct reply, which David Ayer has said, is there will be a time at which it is absolutely right to bring out the cut. So it exists. So it's real. We're all fucking happy about it. I just want to know what the guys think about it. It's really quickly. Let's not delve deep.
I think go for it. Just make sure it's not included in anything going forward. Just being like, right, we want to give this guy a chance. We want to see what he's done with the movie. Every director should have their cut should be final. It shouldn't be involved 100%. With studios. But I think release it, but be like, listen, we're just giving you this because we want to do it. It's nothing to do with what we're doing going forward because there needs to be a real separation.
I agree.
Not everyone is like us. We don't know that this is not going to be the same DCU that we had before.
Yeah.
It's going to confuse the life out of people being like, listen, we're changing our Superman, we're doing this differently, we're doing that. That's educating the people that don't like this stuff is going to be the point with that. So just be like, we'll release it just like we did with Zack Snyder's thing. I think that was HBO
But I think even that was complicated because I had to explain it to a girlfriend I was seeing at the time. I was like, we're going to watch 4 hours of this Zack Snyder cut. I've invited my friend up. We're going to smoke a bunch of weed. We're going to watch 4 hours of this. And she was like, what? And I'm like, she's like, I've seen this before. It's Justice League. I'm like, no. You haven't seen, this is a different cut. I had to sit for like an hour explaining it. Yeah. And this Latvian chick is like, what? No, like what? Well, maybe not German, but she's like, what do you mean?
What's her name?
Patricia, you're still out there. You're a good bang. Like
chick in Glasgow.
I think she moved back to Latvia, to be honest. After, like, you might have cheated on me, but you're a good bang. Come on back, Chris. You heard them. But like,
finish an entire bottle of wine.
And that's a true story. But like, fucking, hit me up. But like, fucking, like, but the thing is, I agree so much in a way, right? Yeah. No, like, so give me no more kind of going into it, but give me a wee kind of fire off what you're saying there again because I've lost a wee bit of my brain.
I was saying that we're going to have to educate people because not every
the different cuts.
Like everybody's into geeky stuff now.
The different cuts. So this is sorry. You had me remember. So the different cuts, but I want directors with a vision to be able to get their cut, to be able to get a thing out. I think producer intervention is so much a big problem these days, especially when we're dealing with multi-dollar films that have to do double or triple their money back to even make a profit. So you got a 250, 300 million film, you need to make $1 billion, billion too, to fucking go even, right? That must be horrible. Look at us, dudes. Even try to work out the money for fucking doing all that shit, right? Yeah. And we're like, shit. Imagine fucking juggling billions. It must be fucking I mean, we like to shit on them, but imagine being one of those producers, right? And somebody's like, I've got a great idea. You're like, no, 300 billion. It has to be a thing. Like, I get
300 billion?
Right, like, but when you're making the film, but what I mean is it's going to cost I said billion, sorry. What I mean is 300 million to make the film, it has to make $1 billion to break even. Yeah, but 300 million, like, anybody with an idea out there, even John Wick, that was speaking before, it's like, no, we're doing the fucking bankable idea. I get it, right? But it's bankrupted Hollywood. It's made it fucking go into the shitter. Yeah, so we're saying
not paying people right.
So the Ayer Cut, right? I followed this at the time about Suicide Squad. I think I said this before on a podcast about how there was an advert that came out the advert for Suicide Squad at the same time as Guardians of the Galaxy came out. Guardians of the Galaxy was really popular. It was all kind of bright colours and all that. The advert for... They gave... Suicide Squad was a dark film by David Ayer. And a dark-ass film. And they gave the trailer duties to this other company.
We discussed this.
Talked this
And they made the trailer like all
we did,
bright neon.
It was,
and then
Trailer Park is the guys who took it.
the producers went back to David Ayer and said, you now need to change the whole film because we want a happy, fun film. This is why there's like Eminem songs in the theatrical cut that don't make sense.
Yeah.
Because they were like, we need to go back and change this. But David Ayer was like, I had a hard-hitting, dark film. What have you done to it? So whenever they said about the Zack Snyder cut, David Ayer was like, understandably, like, fucking where's my cut?
Yeah.
Where's my cut of my film that everybody hates and shits on when my film was good? I want director cuts it.
Yep,
Yeah.
Even just on DVD, on different things like that, I
100%.
want that. But I know we need to wrap up.
Segue.
No, I was just saying, like, with the David Ayer cut, definitely give him it. But my segue was more towards when we were talking about Wonder Woman.
Sorry, I know.
We were saying that
the
DCU were keeping some characters and they weren't keeping certain characters. But I was thinking, with Marvel, should Marvel stop for the meantime and then reset so that we can have John Bernthal as Wolverine and we can have other characters?
I'm interested in both. I think there's this.
Your Blades, I still think the guy that's playing Blade, still have him as Blade.
Maybe
Ghost Rider, Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling, because he's letting me.
Ryan Gosling as Ghost Rider makes the most sense. He looks like the most like Johnny
Does
Blaze in the comics.
Yeah,
Johnny Blaze is blonde.
All right, okay.
And
And he's drive. You can already drive. I drive.
Fantastic Four. We go into. They're going to release that right now, but also have Doctor Doom be the main threat going forward.
Can I ask this? Is what you're asking is for a total reboot of the MCU?
No, I'm just saying stop for like 5 years. Then bring in the X-Men, bring in Fantastic Four, and make that another version.
But when I say, are you asking for a total reboot? Because I think the MCU as it stands is lost in the woods. It's too lost. Like, imagine having to watch Secret Invasion to understand the next film.
Have you guys seen the end yet?
No, but I know that.
I haven't watched
the same way I do with a lot of things. I watch the breakdowns, but so the strongest character in the whole Marvel universe now is Daenerys out of Game of Thrones, but smaller and the more diminutive.
It's not.
God.
Again, this is where all the shitty fucking... See all these guys, see all you fucking wankers that write for Screen Rant, and have a read at the fucking comics, have an actual read at the story, and have a read at exactly what these characters are based on.
Can't talk to me right now, my bad. So
I'm sorry,
tell me.
I'm sorry, I get fucked off with these.
No, you're right though. I just seen the headline and I went with it. So you go.
No, not you, but I'm talking about the guys that write it, not the people. You read it.
Oh, right. But I still did go with the headline and go with it.
No, that's what I mean. It was like, all these wee fucking wankers that don't actually have you call yourself comic geeks. You call yourself the fucking people who are giving the information. Know what you're fucking talking about, because you will actually know that anybody who is a Skrull, who has superhero powers, is only a percentage of the actual superheroes. But that's the whole point.
But the thing is, that this is a good point.
And you did
right?
bring it up
but
in the final.
That's what I was going to ask.
they
Because the MCU is
said-
different for the comics.
Yeah.
So is that the case in
They
the...
fucking brought it up, I think, twice over the course
We
of the
did say
season.
in this Secret Invasion, I watched most of it, then dropped off it. So the big... I know there's a lot of people talking about the last two episodes, how bad they are. But I've not seen that because it just bored me so much I couldn't watch the rest of it.
So bad.
So the whole point of Gia is that what she is a super Skrull, and then Gravik is a super Skrull, and then they're basically having this big massive fucking fight, massive battle, smash each other about, and they're like, oh, Gia's now the most super powered. It's ridiculous because she doesn't fit in. No, she's not. Fucking any one of the people that she is taking on the body of will wipe her ass to the fucking floor.
Because she's a percentage of
She's
that.
only a percent, and she only holds that percentage. That's the whole point. The problem with it is that she can use all of them.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
But do you know what I like is even something they used to bring in like heroes is when you've got that many Heroes, a TV show for 2005.
Oh yeah, because what's his name?
Peter Petrelli. Or Sylar.
Yes.
That's
Sylar.
my favourite
Sylar,
fucking...
yeah.
Is when you've got that many powers, they interact with each other and you don't... You know what I mean? Like, you might have fucking crazy shit in your head because you fucking... There's too many powers. By the way, for anybody watching, go back and watch 2005 Heroes. The rest of the seasons are shit, but the first season... No, just the first season.
Second season's okay.
No!
Not okay.
Right.
They lose it. But
They lose the writer's strike. We've got another writer's strike now, but the writer's strike at the time fucked it, right? And the other thing that fucked it is Tim Kring, I think his name was, who made Heroes. His whole idea was it's like everybody all over the world getting hero powers, right? So the whole thing about Peter Petrelli and his brother and that were meant to end after the first season. It was meant to be the two of them going to this guy, and then the two of them are dead, right? But the producers, again, always the fucking producers, the producers said those characters are bankable, bring them back for the second season. And Tim Kring said, I can't, they're dead, I blew them up in the sky. And he said, do it. So then they brought in, okay, well, Peter Petrelli's in Ireland with the worst Irish accents in the fucking planet of Irish accents. My name's Ryan John Moran, I know Irish accents. These were not fucking Irish accents, right? And like, his brother is so then they try to continue this story of characters they'd never planned and continue them with. And all you need to do to see that is in season one of the best episodes they've got 5 years later. Yeah. And you see the characters as badasses, like X-Men 5 years later. And then in reality, 5 years later and 5 seasons later, they're still the same characters as we were in season one. Anyway, it's just such a loss.
I just want to bring up that's the first time I ever witnessed Hayden Panettiere.
Get fucked. Not by like a thing, by like a...
No, I just seen her and like thought she was amazing. That was like...
Yeah, I see her get chopped up so many times. I just thought, I wish I could chop you up.
I think I had to save the cheerleader, save the world.
I'll save that cheerleader. I'll save her fucking again.
Yeah, right.
The second season, they completely fucked it.
And then right to the fourth and fifth, they actually tried to bring it back because
they had a fourth and fifth season.
Yeah, no, serious. I followed this to the end because I always hoped.
Fucking comic book, did you not?
But I always hoped it was going to bring it back because it's such a good first season. I thought they'll bring it back. They'll bring it back because it was only the writer's strike that fucked them, and even Tim Kring and that would say it was the writer's strike that fucked us, right? So in season 4 was when the writer's strike stopped, and they were meant to have like, okay, we can actually fix this, right? And then we made one of the worst seasons imaginable, man. And I was like, well, you obviously are fucking up still because you've got... And then they made season 5 and they said again, we're bringing it all back to the beginning, and then they fucked up again. And it was like, well, you just don't know what you're doing anymore. Do you know what I mean? And maybe they were too lost in the weeds. I get that with your story. You write yourself into a corner. Do you know what I mean? I get
lost
that.
Lost in the weeds or lost in the woods?
I got lost in the weeds a lot, but I also write... But you know what it's like to write yourself in a corner. For instance, the best example now, shop. Peter Petrelli, the whole point of his character is that his power is that when he's around other superhero characters, he gains their power.
Is that Sylar?
No, this is the point. This is the point. So Sylar, but this is what I liked even about the inner stuff about it. Yeah. Peter Petrelli's power has been an empath. Like he's a really guy who like, oh, I'm sorry, he feels what you're feeling in real life. Like, oh, he's an empathetic guy. So when the powers come along, he's an empath. So which means that when he's around you, and when he feels your plight, like you're a mother, a single mother, but I feel your plight, he gains your power. Because he's empathetically with you, saying he gains your power. Right. Sylar is a logical watchmaker, right? Who learns how to take people's powers by looking at their brain and fucking figuring out like a watch.
Yeah, he had to kill them, didn't he?
Yeah.
But it was never shown because it would be... But he would basically... It was interpreted that it would kill them, open up their brain, figure out with their brain, like fixing a watch, how he would take their power. Sylar takes the power mad route, so starts going for more power and more power because the way Sylar is actually born is that he's a hero with a supernatural power, but a shite one. Right? So when the guy comes to meet him to say, I think you might have a power because your genetic structure matches, he's like, I don't have a power. And it's like, you don't, fuck you then, leave you. And then he realises his power is to figure out other people's powers.
Zachary Quinto.
Zachary Quinto.
I just clicked there,
one of the best bad guys that ever.
Spock.
See in that first season, you don't see the bad guy for like the first 10 episodes. He's just a shadow. He's just like, and then when he comes into it, he's fucking awesome. But Peter Petrelli is what's the word I'm looking for? the opposite, the absolute mirror opposite, that he doesn't get you by logically understanding you, he gets you by empathetically understanding you. So when he's around you for even 5 minutes, he empathetically understands you, then gets your power, right? But the thing is, that's a really cool story device, right? But if you're creating a superhero, you're going to write yourself in a corner. Because how do you create an X-Men type of people with all different powers?
That's Rogue, though.
But Rogue had her vulnerabilities. Peter Petrelli didn't.
Yeah.
Like, Rogue only took them for a certain amount of time, and it took it. Like, Peter Petrelli just had to be around you and got the power, right? Now, as a writer, that writes you in a corner. Tim Kring understood that, right? But he only planned Peter Petrelli to be a one-season thing.
Yeah.
He dies at the end.
His
but when the
becoming who his brother was meant to be.
but when
Was his brother not like Superman? They had the same powers.
no, his brother could fly.
Yeah.
His brother could just fly really fast. That's it.
I thought he had some force.
No. People said
What was he called?
Nathan. Nathan
'Cause he
Petrelli.
was like a senator, wasn't he?
Yeah, he had the flying power. But this is what I mean, right? So his brother, all the powers mattered to their characters in a way, right? Like the person that was like the Hulk was this single mother who had like a split personality that was really strong, like the Hulk, that she would come out when she had to, when like an abusive boyfriend to look after, that would come out, right? Nathan Petrelli was the politician that could fly, right? Like
You had to hide it because of the politician.
right? Peter Petrelli was his wee brother who was a nurse who fucking had the empathetic kind who got everybody's powers.
Hiro Nakamura was the samurai.
Who
could travel,
but
time
this is why they fucked us. Hiro Nakamura was the comic book geek who was fucking, who wanted a superpower his whole life and then would watch the Japanese or Chinese, sorry, I forget what it, because everybody knows their trains are on point all the time, right? And he'd watch every day and go, to try and make it be a little bit, because he thought, I might be a superhero with time. And then one day, he sees the clock go,
I remember it.
and he's like, oh, I've got a power. So he was great. But the thing is he said, they released this episode that's 5 years later, right? So they're all their baby superheroes, no what to do with their powers. And 5 years later, and like Peter Petrelli is in a train and everything slows down, it stops, and then a badass Hiro Nakamura with a ponytail and a samurai sword goes,
right.
Peter Petrelli, you need to save the world, blah, blah. And he's like, Hiro? But what the fuck? And he's like, no, you need to save the world, blah, blah.
That was a holy fuck moment.
Yeah.
But as a story coordinator, all you had to do was follow that. Just follow that and make them be the superheroes they were meant to be 5 years later. Because of the writer's strike, so many things they couldn't do that. Anyway,
As a hero coordinator, I'm going to cut it off there. I'm going to pick it up on the next episode, though.
no, well, but all I'm saying is they
I
fucked it.
genuinely like want to talk more about heroes.
Yeah.
I think this is a massive thing because
We could do a breakdown there, yeah.
I'm pretty
we're
sure
all-
my brother has the comic book.
Yeah,
of-
I was a massive fan. I really loved it. But I'm going to leave you with one final teeny little bit of information, which there's odds that have came out of, like, obviously they're casting a lot in the Marvel universe, and the odds are coming in for the casting of the X-Men.
Right.
So X-Men is the biggest one that we know that is definitely going to appear in the next as one of the X-Men has been dramatically cut. I mean, so dramatically it's almost like someone knows, and that's Professor X.
Oh, yeah, I've seen this.
So I'm going to give you 1 point to say who you think it's going to be, and then I'm going to tell you who it's been cut for.
Who I think the actor's going to
Who
be?
you think it was going to be, or
Who played Professor X?
who's the new Professor X?
I mean, no,
So
give
there's
me a
loads of rumours.
second.
There's been a fuck ton of rumours. Like, there's been a fuck
But we're
ton.
not going with James McAvoy anymore.
There's going to be somebody new. There's going to be multiverse of all the characters coming back in, but it's now been cut by one person to almost zero. We're not taking any money on the person.
You're going to hurt my soul, aren't you?
Oh, I'm going to fuck your soul. I'm going to take your soul and be
I'm
your
going to
arsehole.
slave her with my... Yeah.
I'm going to do that.
So what are you going to tell me?
Who do you think?
No, so what are you going to tell me? What are you going to tell me?
Who do you think?
It's not Patrick Stewart. It's not
definitely
even
not.
Bryan Cranston.
Giancarlo Esposito.
So that was the
Is it
main
like
one.
fucking
That's
dude-
correct. So he's the closest to. He is now second place.
Is it going to be like
Yeah.
fucking...
You ready?
No, because I want to
Denzel.
say a joke first.
Oh
Denzel Washington?
no!
Oh, gee, okay.
I made it feel good for you, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Because it's going to be Emma Corrin.
I don't even know who that is.
I don't even know who that is, but why is her name Emma? Right, that's right. Tell me who Emma Corrin is first, but why is the Professor X name Emma?
Emma Corrin played Princess Diana. And
Oh, she did she?
So, as I said, is like we're going to cut this out because we want you to tune into next week's episode when we're going to discuss both.
See, if you
heroes.
said Denzel Washington, this is the thing. I mean, people say about race swapping and all that. Denzel Washington would make a fucking amazing Professor
That's
X
true.
because he's character.
We're going to cut and we're going to we're going to finish this episode. And come back on the next episode because this is exactly what we're going to talk about at the start of the next episode. We're going to talk about Emma Corrin being cast as Professor X. It's almost realistic. The amount of odds that have came in and has said that it is now going to be her that's going to be playing Professor X. So
I'll wear a nappy because I think I'm going to shite and vomit at the same time.
Thank you very much for joining us on tonight's episode, Ryan.
Much love,
Thank
apart
you
from that cunt.
Thank you, Callum.
Thank you.
We can do this all day. Not even kidding.